Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome to another stale movie review. Today we are talking about The House That Dripped Blood. Alright, so The House That Dripped Blood was requested of me by one of my creepy patron peeps, Josh, as one of his perks. So thank you so much to Josh for requesting this movie, and thank you as well to all my other creepy patron peeps for your support of my channel. If you want to find out the other perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link in the description. Alright, so The House That Dripped Blood is directed by Peter DeFell and stars Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and Jon Pertwee. Follows a Scotland Yard investigator looking into 4 mysterious cases that all involve an old house and its previous tenants. A horror novelist who encounters the villain of his next book in real life, 2 men who become obsessed with a wax figure of a woman from their past, a little girl who has a dark interest in witchcraft, and finally a horror actor who purchases a vampire's cloak and finds it gives him vampire's powers. I had to point this out as a fun fact of the movie. There is a little bit of fun kind of like future events prediction in this movie. So in Christopher Lee's segment, his character can be seen reading the book The Lord of the Rings. Of course, is funny considering 30 years later after the premiere of this movie, Lee plays Sauron in the film adaptation of the book. Alright, that being said though, let's get into what I liked about The House That Dripped Blood. Alright, so it's an anthology, and cool, we love an anthology. I especially love the ones where the wraparound story is directly involved with the other segments. So I like when it all kind of makes sense, or it all is part of the same story, if that makes sense, because we have a familiar set, the house, and the wraparound is obviously the Scotland Yard investigator, and it also involves the real estate agent who is constantly renting or selling this house to people as well. So I like that. I like that the wraparound has something to do with the segments. I also thought the segments were all of a good length, and I liked the variety of the segments. They all, had something a little bit different. So some of them were more psychological, some of them were more supernatural or had to do with like vampires, obviously, like I mentioned, or witchcraft. And I also loved the bits of comedy thrown in. It's not a straight horror movie where it's just all scares. In particular, I like Pertwee's character. I hope I'm saying his name right. I don't know. I never say anybody's name right. But anyways, I like the joke that his character makes about Dracula, as his character is playing a vampire in a movie. He makes a remark that he likes Bela Lugosi's Dracula and not this new fellow, meaning Christopher Lee's Dracula, which I thought was fun.
Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, Dracula. The one with Bela Lugosi, of course, not this new fella.
I also liked how the segments required very little special effects, even though some of them involved supernatural things. And I feel like this is kind of common in older movies, or even just like lower budget movies that maybe can't afford like the special effects or CGI. Obviously CGI is not a thing in 1971 when this movie came out, but you know what I mean. So instead of showing something happening, it's the implication of it happening. So I'm gonna go ahead and spoil here. So at the end of Christopher Lee's segment, his daughter, who has created like a voodoo like wax figure of him, of Christopher Lee, throws it into the fire, and you just hear him upstairs screaming in agony, and he's burning to death or melting to death or whatever. But obviously we don't get to see it, but it's like it's just that imagery of the girl throwing it into the fire, and we know, and then all of a sudden you hear him screaming upstairs, and you know what's happening. And I kind of like that sometimes. Like, yes, I do love to see practical effects as much as the next person, but sometimes the like implied violence, like it's just like, the movie is effective enough that you know what's happening upstairs when his character is screaming, and you don't necessarily need to see it. And it can work well, like when it's done well like that, it works well for a movie, and you don't need to do the practical effects if maybe you can't afford them or can't achieve them. I'm gonna say, and I don't even know if this is accurate, but I just feel like I see it a lot in older horror movies with like these really big name actors, you know, like Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing were huge back then. And I like, can we just appreciate how like in these older movies, at least from what I've seen, like they were just like not afraid to kill off these actors in their movies. Like, sorry, spoiler alert, both Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee die in this movie. I feel like that just doesn't happen a lot in movies nowadays. Like if you have a big name actor in a movie, like, you know, you naturally assume like, oh, they're probably gonna live. And a lot of the times they do, and it's usually shocking when they don't. Like, you know, Scream, in the opening of Scream with Drew Barrymore, you know, she was, you know, being a big star, people thought that she was gonna be the main character. So, and also like Janet Leigh in Psycho, you know, a lot of people thought she was gonna make it to the end of the movie. So some movies have played on that idea, but I feel like for the most part, if there's a huge actor in a movie, they're going to live. Or even if they technically die, like, you know, kind of like a Dracula sort of thing, they do come back, and you know, the Christopher Lee can come back as Dracula even though he technically died or whatever. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I feel like in older movies, you know, just like wild abandon, like, yeah, let's just kill Peter Cushing, like why not? Anyways, though, speaking of Peter Cushing, let's get into what I didn't like about the movie. I wasn't really a fan of Peter Cushing's segment, not because he was in it or because he did a bad job or anything, but like just the whole story of it. So basically he moves into the house all by himself, and it's like this huge house, and he's kind of a loner, and he's like unpacking his stuff, and we see the picture of this beautiful woman, and it seems to affect him deeply in a way. And then next thing we know, you know, like Peter's friend comes to visit, and they visit this wax museum, and there's this figure of Salome there, and it looks exactly like this woman in the photo that they both know, and it like deeply affects them for whatever reason. But you never figure out like, if the wax figure, you know, the person she was modeled after was actually the woman in the photo, or if it just looks like her, and who she was, and why they care so much. Like, I just feel like I needed more information because I didn't know like who the woman was or what she meant to the characters. I didn't understand why they were so obsessed with the wax figure. And it's like the only explanation you get is from the museum owner, who just vaguely is just like, yeah, the wax figure is beautiful, right? It has an effect on people, and that's it. And I'm just like, that's it? Like, that's it? What's going on? Like, so confused. So that was my least favorite segment, because I just didn't understand really what was going on. And the other thing I didn't like about the movie was the end. So at the end of the movie, the real estate agent or whatever, Stoker, his name is Stoker, he's breaking the fourth wall and literally speaking to us and telling us why all of the tenants in this house have met terrible ends. Tells us, he's like, you know, like literally says like, do you understand now? The house reflects the character of the people who live in it.
Perhaps you understand the secret of this house now. Precisely. It reflects the personality of whoever lives in it and treats him accordingly.
I wish maybe they had made that more apparent with the segments, and maybe not spoon-fed the meaning to us, like kind of just let the viewer figure it out for themselves, and not just say in so many words like, did you get it? This is what's happening. And I mean, I will admit I did kind of appreciate it, because I feel like the segments don't make that very clear, and I don't know, maybe that's why they felt like they needed to explain it at the end of the movie, but just make it more clear in the segments. That's all. Or in the wraparound or something. Don't have the character break the fourth wall and give us a lesson on what the movie was about. Anyways though, now we have to ask the question, was The House That Dripped Blood worth watching? I say yes. Regardless of what I didn't like, there's a lot you can enjoy with this movie. You can watch it as like a serious horror film and get something out of it, and you can just watch it as something fun, because there are some light bits of comedy in there which are really nice as well. So, you know, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. On IMDb, it has a 6.6 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 82% critic score and a 57% audience score. And on Letterboxd, it has a 3.2 out of 5. All right, so like I watch everything, I watched The House That Dripped Blood on Amazon. So I'll leave an affiliate link on my blog, which there is always a link to in the description. So you can head to my blog, nightmaremaven.com, and there is a page on there. It's called Amazon Affiliate Store, and it has all the links for all the movies I watched this month. There is no pressure by any means to rent the movie that way. This is for a rental, not purchasing the movie. By no means do you need to rent the movie this way. It's just there. If you want to, the channel gets a small kickback if you do. So if you've seen The House That Dripped Blood, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it, and I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and become a Creepy Peep today. I post videos Monday through Friday, and you can ring that notification bell down there to be notified every time I post. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye!